Kind of a little delay. All right.
Yeah, it says it's going. Yeah.
Cool. So, hey, I'm here with Gabe from Enterprise Earth.
Hello.
Hey, man, how's it going? Are you in Spokane, Washington?
No, I'm in Taos, New Mexico, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I would love to be over there right now.
Yeah, no, it's nice this time of year. The summers here are really beautiful. So.
Yeah. Are you just like hanging out, vacationing?
Oh, I've actually been working since I got back from all the canceled tours and stuff like that. So I've been fortunate enough to have a job here, but just doing that, working on music, hanging out, camping, doing stuff. So. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, awesome, man. Yeah, we're on fire here. I'm in Austin.
Oh, okay.
We're having a cold front, which means that it's not 3-digit weather. So that's pretty crazy, right? But yeah, they're like, hey, we have a cold front. It's 97.
So, chilling off.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So man, I've been checking out the EP, and so I have a million questions. Hopefully, we'll get through them.
Sure.
So I wanted to ask first on the EP, like the concept behind it, because so you have, I'm assuming you have one new song, 2 covers, and an acoustic version, right?
Yep.
So how did it come about that that's what you guys wanted to do for this EP?
It was like really impromptu. Like we got back from like all these canceled tours and, let the dust settle for a few days and then trying to figure out something to do just to stay active and busy. And we were like, well, we got all these new demos going. Like, let's just release an EP and let's do a couple covers we've always wanted to do like while we're at it. And then the idea to do the acoustic version came along too. So we're like, yeah, this sounds like a pretty well-rounded thing.
Yeah.
And just kind of went for it.
Man, yeah, because so I was checking it out, and the way I was listening to it was through Spotify, and I had it playing while I was doing something, and I was like, wait a minute, that sounds like Lamb of God. Are they? What's going on? Oh no, that's a Lamb of God cover. Like, whoa, shit. So that's like a total cool thing to because I kind of think of them as more of like kind of like thrash party kind of a deal. And is that somebody you guys looked up to forever, Lamb of God?
Yeah, Lamb of God's definitely like one of our biggest influences for sure. That album in particular, Ashes of the Lake, is like one of Dan and I's favorite albums like of all time. So we were like, we knew we wanted to do a song off that album, and then after like listening through, we kind of settled on that one. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sure.
So then the next thing that totally surprised me was you do like, I think like a 180, and you do a necrophagist cover. So it's kind of like we're gonna do something cool, like take it easy. We're gonna do a Lamb of God thing, and then you go completely opposite and do something crazy like a necrophagist cover. I mean, I'm just saying, like that takes a lot of balls to go all the way that direction,
Yeah.
And you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Is everybody was like, yeah, let's do it, or is it like, oh man, like that's a lot of work, or how did everybody feel about that?
Well, so everything off that first Necrophagist album, it's just the guitars and bass are difficult because all the drums on that album were programmed. So the drums on that album aren't really that crazy. And like when I was mapping drums and like learning the guitar parts, I was like, wait a minute, like this isn't very fair. I have to do all the hard work here. Like Brandon doesn't have to do shit, and like neither does Dan. But it's definitely a big challenge, like for guitars and bass for sure. But it was still a lot of fun. Like, and again, that's another band that's like a massive influence on us, and their whole discography is like some of my favorite death metal of all time. So it was a good time.
Yeah, man, that's really awesome. So now I wanted to ask about the acoustic version. And what I thought was so genius about what you guys did was when I was listening to it, I was like, oh man, it must have like shuffled or I don't know, maybe I'm listening, maybe the record ended and now it's playing random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the acoustic version sounds completely not like you guys. At least that's kind of the way I heard it. And I was thinking like, whoa, that's so crazy. And then, so I thought that what you guys were doing was like, just like a completely different type of tune. But in fact, it's an acoustic version of a previous tune you had on one of your other records.
Yep.
And when you listen to them back to back, to me they're so completely different how they feel. But what I thought was so genius about what you guys did is that you guys are showing how versatile you guys are, how talented you are, and changing the sound in a way where people can't really, because a lot of times people get really stuck with this is the way Enterprise Earth should sound like. And if they veer away from that, I'm going to be pissed,
Right.
And I think you guys figured out a way to showcase your talents without, because it's kind of like, well, it's one of our tunes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like we're going off in a different direction. We're just showing you what's possible.
Right.
Was that the whole intention behind it, or?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I guess there really wasn't like a whole lot of intention behind it at all. I mean, yeah, we wanted to like show off our versatility, and we've all known like that Dan can sing for a while, but Dan's like hasn't really like put it out there front and center. So like, just wanted to do it, and like when I demoed the song, we're like, yeah, it just feels like a good song to us, and that's at the end of the day, we just like making good music and songs that resonate with us, and yeah, that was a lot of fun, and we were hoping to like surprise people in like in the best way with that. And so far, the reception for our fans has been awesome. Like it's been really good.
Yeah, man, I think that you guys figured out how to do it, because I think that a lot of times when bands try to do that, it automatically causes a rift, and then
Sure.
the fan base just kind of splits apart.
Yeah.
And you guys figured out. I mean, it's like so. I was wondering, did you get that idea of doing that from somebody like have you heard of another band doing that, or is that just something you guys thought of doing?
Yeah, it's I mean, there's been a lot of bands that have done it, like Alice in Chains. They had that whole live album acoustic, and then in recent years, like with modern like metal, I See Stars did Treehouse. They did a whole acoustic version of their album Treehouse, which came out in 2016, and the acoustic version is phenomenal. It's like that's honestly that was the biggest inspiration for me, because they took all those songs. They're the same songs, but they just restructured them and reformatted them for the acoustic. And they like kind of like you mentioned, it's the same song, but it sounds like it's like two different songs,
Yeah.
And the way they arranged the compositions for the acoustic version was incredible. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to do something like that. And I'm also like a huge Opeth fan. Like whenever they did Deliverance and Damnation, like heavy album, chill album, like I love that contrast, but it still all flows together.
Yeah. Man, yeah, I thought that was a great idea, especially because like since you guys are so heavy that it's so risky
Right.
to back down from that,
Yeah.
But I thought, yeah, I was just thinking how, man, you guys figured out the sweet spot for that.
Cool.
So yeah, man. So I was wondering, since you were talking about how you were demoing stuff, the other thing I was going to ask is like how you guys kind of divide up the kind of like the creative stuff. Like, you were saying you do demos. Uh, does everybody do demos, or is that kind of like your job? You know what I mean? Like, how does that work with you guys?
Yeah, so I'll do all the demos here in my workstation in my area. I'll flesh out the song, map the drums, and then Dan will do his vocal thing. We'll refine the composition. Once we get it to a spot where we think we're happy with it, Brandon will demo his drums either via MIDI, just programming, or he may do like a rough take at home or something like that. And then that's pretty much it for the writing process. Then whenever it's time to record, we each Dan does his vocals, I'll do guitars and bass, Brandon does drums, and then they all send it to me. I'll mix it, and that's that. So.
Oh, really? So you, because I was going to ask about that. You do all the mixing?
So the Foundation of Bones was the first release from us that we self-produced. I ended up mixing and mastering. And
awesome.
Yeah, and we've decided to self-release our next album as well. So
okay, cool. So is that something that you're getting into, like would you mix other people's music, or you're just like you just do it for Enterprise Earth?
I don't know yet. I don't know if I want to do other people's stuff, or I just kind of want to do my own stuff. But I don't know. We'll just see what happens. I enjoy production, in mixing and stuff like that. So the whole quarantine situation kind of prompted us and me to like take action and like really go for it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that.
Cool. So hopefully this doesn't get too nerdy, but like I really love the way the guitars sound on this EP, and all the other stuff that you guys have done, and I was wondering, like, there's a lot of pieces to it, right? Like why your guitar sounds the way it does, but what do you think is kind of like the most crucial? Like, would you say it's the amp, the plugins, or like what part of the guitar chain would you say that if you don't have this, you really can't get to that tone?
The most important part of the guitar chain are these two things wiggling at you right here. So it all starts here. It all starts in the hands. That people, I think people. It's not that people don't recognize that, but I think people forget that's the first thing in your signal chain when it comes to tone is the performer.
Yeah.
So if the performers doesn't have good tone in their hands or in their voice or in their feet or hands with their drumming, then the end result isn't going to be as good. And then I would say that's about half of the tone is the performer. The other half is like whatever amps you're using, plugins and stuff. And the tone's not too crazy. It's a Fortin Meshuggah head profile, and I didn't really do too much processing to it. It's a killer profile. It's a killer amp simulation or model. It's a profiler, so killer profile, I guess.
Yeah.
Use the correct digital terminology. But I guess that's how I would sum up where tone comes from.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Yeah, because I wonder about that, because there's always the temptation of, well, just spend more money and you'll get closer to the tone, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's not true, right? And obviously, you're saying it's got to come from the actual sound that you're making before it gets into all the other stuff. So right. That's good to know. I mean, good to know, and then it's like, oh shit, that means I gotta work harder, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, it's like if you hear like a killer player playing, it doesn't matter what amp they're playing through, it's like you're gonna know it's them. Like you're gonna know it's Eddie Van Halen. Like it doesn't matter what amp he's playing through, So.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering, since you brought up COVID, and and I'm sure everybody's asking everybody this, but so now, like, are you guys like how are you kind of going to substitute the touring thing? Are you going to do some streaming, like, or how do you guys, or what are you guys thinking about doing in the future?
I'm not really sure. I mean, we all live in different parts of the country, so if that kind of makes doing the streaming shows thing logistically hard, for us at the moment. I've been trying to think of different streaming content that I can do. I was thinking of doing like a mix session breakdown for the Foundation of Bones sessions and like other guitar related stuff. I like making like guitar videos and stuff like that. I'll post covers and other playthroughs here and there. But our plan is just to keep working on new music. We're about to, or I'm about to enter a writing session here next week to finish up the next album, and then start recording guitars and bass for that the month after that. And then,
okay.
yeah, so the idea, our plan right now is to get this new album done by the end of the year, and then figure it out from there.
So like how many songs are going to be on that new album?
Like 12 or 13, something like that, I think.
Damn.
So some, I don't know. We'll, whenever the writing's done, we'll see how many we like, you know,
Yeah.
keep and toss. So.
Yeah, so that's interesting because I was going to ask about that. Like, you know how you were saying you got together to do the EP to have something to do to keep the momentum going. And sometimes, like, I think, like what you guys are doing, I was curious about that. If this is kind of like the in between thing because you're actually working on a bigger project to release later, and you know sometimes that takes so long that you kind of have to like release something to, you know, to kind of keep people, you know, interested. So that's good, man. So you're saying like, what were you saying? Next year, you think you'd have it out?
I would love to have it out next year on a tour if we can get it out. But I mean, I feel like either way, it's going to come out next year, whether touring has resumed or not, because it's, if you're as a band, if you can't tour or play shows, like, well, you can release music still, and might as well. So yeah,
that's true. Yeah, man. You know, like I feel bad because I missed you guys. You know, every time you've come to Austin, there's always been some like reason why I couldn't go. But and then it's like now it's like, oh man, I don't know, it might be a year, you know, or longer since until you guys come around, or you know, or if you know if these venues are still open, then so it's kind of scary, but yeah, I always kind of, that was always my fear. Like because there's a few bands that there was like, well, they're coming, but you know, for whatever reason, I can't go check them out. I'll check them out next time. And then they like broke up or something like that. So I've been trying to be more like, I gotta go no matter what the deal is. You know, it's usually because of something that happens the next day. And that's kind of usually why I miss stuff. But yeah, I know you guys have been here. You did like, was it Texas Devastation, right?
Texas Independence.
Independence, that's it.
Yeah, I do. We usually play at a Come and Take It like about once or twice a year. So
yeah, I think I missed every time, but you know, when you guys come back, I'm going, regardless of what the deal is. Yeah, man, yeah. So you know, I kind of like to ask people because sometimes the interviews get kind of like very repetitive. So I always wonder, like, based on all the interviews you've done, what would be like something that you wish people would ask you about what you guys are doing that would kind of, you know, that nobody ever asks?
I don't know. That's a good question, actually. I don't know if I could come up with a good answer off the top of my head at the moment. So I don't know. I guess, but yeah, I don't know what a good question to ask a band would be that they don't get asked very often.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Because
I think about that.
Yeah. Because
I don't know.
Sometimes, you know, I'm kind of checking out interviews and stuff, and people are like, "What's your favorite color?" And it's like, man, I don't need to know that. Like, you know, like for me, like especially like with you guys, I wanted to know about how do you guys get your tone? How do you guys work? That kind of stuff, because, you know, you guys are really successful and a lot of us look up to you. You know what I mean? Like you guys are a pretty big deal. So that's, you know, I kind of wonder, you know, there's been a lot of lineup changes, but you guys are still going. And that's what, you know, that kind of stuff is interesting to me. And I think to a lot of people that play music, you know, that they want to know more of the kind of like the guts of the way the bands work.
Yeah.
But man, yeah. So man, I wish I was in New Mexico, dude. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I love going to New Mexico, but we haven't been. We kind of go like once a year, my wife and I, but we haven't been this year. But we're trying to get up there soon. But yeah, man. So great EP. I can't wait to hear the record. And yeah, man. Hopefully, I'll see you guys in Austin.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, yeah. Let's hopefully we'll see you next time we get there, whenever that is. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Well, nice talking to you, man.
Nice talking to you, man. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Bye.